Is woke finally winding down in the halls of Hollyweird? Folks, that's what we're hearing as NBC is gutting their DEI departments. Woke has caused them to go broke, and they're done with it, no joke. Today we'll talk to you about what's happening as MSNBC leaves NBC, and so do many of the jobs promoting diversity. Hello folks, welcome back. It's a joy as ever to endeavor with you, explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. It's what we do day after day, every single one of them that ends with why. As we make the Hollyweirds ask why, oh why, does Pro continue on? Folks, as we do, click the like button and let's dive into what's going down at NBC, Universal, Comcast, as they cast away their DEI worries today. All right, NBC is gutting their DEI departments, and it could be not worse for the woke movement. This is out of Deadline. It's by Ted Johnson. NBC News layoffs impact about 150 staffers as the network prepares for the Comcast-Versant split. What's that, you ask? Well, Versant is the name of the company that Comcast is going to kick MSNBC, renamed MS Now, into. Versant might as well be called the Rachel Maddow company. NBC News went through a round of layoffs on Wednesday, impacting about 150 staffers. That's people. They call it staffers, so it doesn't feel as badly, I guess. As the network cut costs as it prepares for the split of most of Comcast cable networks into Versant. The job reductions are scattered throughout NBC News. They represent about 2% of the NBCU news group workforce and a single-digit percentage of NBC News. According to a source familiar with the plan, Status Newsletter, the first report on the pending cuts, put the figure at 7% of the network's workforce. So the truth is usually in between, eh? We don't know if it's 2 or we don't know if it's 7, but it's significant. The cuts were across the board and included significant layoffs. Here's what you need to know, okay? When they say it's across the board, what they're telling you is that if somebody got fired from custodial services, all right, now we can say it's across the board because it's not just the departments we're about to name specifically, but the ones they're naming specifically are these. The cuts were across the board and included significant layoffs to teams devoted to issues of diversity. Those online verticals, such as NBC Out and NBC Black, will continue, according to a source. So they didn't close the verticals. They closed the departments, maybe. Staffers are being told that the layoffs are taking place because NBC News no longer will be providing news gathering for 2 networks. Not just in MSNBC, but CNBC. The 2 networks will be part of the collection of cable channels under the Versant umbrella, also cited as the economic climate, as linear networks have been trimming staffs amid advertising shifts to other platforms. Now, this article goes on to try to make this more and more palatable, but the truth is that the DEI departments got emptied out at NBC on Wednesday. There's no other to say it. And what this reminds me of is, let's say you had a food chain and you fired everybody. You fired everybody in the food chains, but the logo for your food chain is still going to be on some microwavable items still in the frozen food aisles of Walmart and Target and all those places. Sure, the verticals are going to exist. Sure, NBC Out and NBC Black still exist. But the people who work on it don't. You fired them. Guys, this is the surest sign yet that it's a net negative for these companies to have DEI and woke enterprises happening within them. And NBC is not a conservative company, not in the least. The fact that this is where they went to, the fact that these departments, they closed them out, what do you guys think this means for the industry? Have we reached that point where point blank CEOs are saying, these folks got to go?
This is really, really fascinating to me because we have always heard, at least, behind the scenes, is that, you guys focus on Disney all this time, but Comcast is just as bad when it comes to DEI, wokeness, and so forth. And, there have been certainly some divisions and some, aspects of the company that, if you are on the maybe more conservative side of the spectrum, maybe you might take issue with. So the fact that they are making these range of moves ever since, around election time, I think is particularly fascinating. So we have about 150 staffers all being removed from units like NBC Black, NBC Latino, NBC Asian, NBC Out. Is that correct on this?
Yeah, basically the whole The cornucopia of diversity has been emptied out at NBC.
Yeah. I guess they account for 7% of its workforce amid growing financial troubles and definitely in preparation for that Versant split right there. Look, this stuff is unpalatable. And when you have to be a leaner company, these things are not only unmarketable, but also, too, they're unsustainable. Go ahead, Culture.
Well, okay, so the government is getting rid of non-necessary employees, right? And so if you're not necessary and you have a job, at some point when things are lean, you're not going to have that job anymore. So, it's kind of, they're basically saying DEI is not necessary to their operations. They are opening 140 positions over at Versant for some kind of news garbage. But the question is, are they going to go out and hire actual news people, or are they going to hire people based on not their merits, but on, this other garbage? And look, we already have a lot of corrupted people working on camera for PMSNBC or PMS Now or whatever it's going to be called. But you're going to have that same problem at CNBC because that's also moving to Versant. So, and look, NBC is saying that number of 7% is wrong. They're reporting
of course they are.
They're saying it's 2%.
Right, because they're going to. I'm sure there's going to be a debate about who actually works for us versus who's a contractor, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Gets into the weeds, but I'll show this to you. This is why this is happening, folks. Take a look at this. It's out of Deadline. It's from a few weeks ago, but it takes a few weeks to cycle through this stuff. Fox News tops September ratings while CNN and MSNBC show year-over-year declines. All major news networks drop in demo. And if you compare to the election cycle, but there's a specific targeting of CNN and MSNBC. Now, MSNBC is going to be out on its own, and as it goes out, NBC has taken this opportunity to fire their DEI departments. That's really impressive. But guys, here's the other thing to say about this. So you would expect this to happen first here. And the reason for that is you don't expect Disney to start doing this, although they've renamed and moved around their Reimagine Tomorrow stuff. They didn't clear house, right? They didn't clean it out. No. They just shuffled the deck, renamed it, reassigned, etc. But NBC, now that it's going to be a lean, mean entertainment machine with a news organization inside, they have to operate with slimmer budgets. But what we're seeing is, and if we continue to see this with other companies, for example, let's say that Warner Brothers does the same thing for CNN, okay? Maybe they fire their DEI side. We don't know yet. We don't know how this is going to play out exactly, but it's going to be the smaller companies before it's the Disney-sized companies. I know Comcast is a big deal, and I know but listen, MSNBC is not a big deal anymore. It's going to be part of a little company called Versant. Disney, the big kahuna, big Pooh Bear, before they say, hey, go home to their DEI crowd, it's going to get loud in the other companies first. Is that fair?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I think Business Insider just had an article recently that they published, which was like, hey, this is how the Mouse House is kind of skirting behind the scenes, behind this anti-DEI push emanating from the White House and so forth. So they're going to have like a global belonging week on Monday and so forth, and talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but without using those terms or all of them.
I'm glad they've joined this culture because every time we do a show here, everybody around us says they feel like they belong here. So I'm glad that Disney is trying that too now.
Yeah, well, look, everybody knows that belonging is more baloney sausage. It's part of the bridge idea, which is destroying Microsoft from the inside out right now.
Woo! So, boy, Microsoft is collapsing.
Yeah, let's keep that up. They put a very much DEI higher end, basically professor and true believer in charge of the Xbox, and look at what's happening there. But
yeah, Microsoft is propped up by their legacy items, their Office stuff, but also their investments in ChatGPT will probably save the day for Microsoft. But in every way, entertainment, Microsoft has devastated themselves with this stuff.
And look, good for Versant for not having to have that M out there anymore. They're I'm just going to say one final thing because I like actual numbers. So when you look at PMSNBC in the third quarter, year over year, they dropped quite substantially, 46% compared to 2024. Now, you can say, well, that's because it's not an election year. Well, yeah, I'll give you 20% of that, but a 20% drop is pretty catastrophic for an organization that's having trouble bringing people in. And then if you look at CNN, because again, it used to be the leader in news, now they're the leader in propaganda. Their same third quarter fell by 42% of total viewers in that same third quarter, and 55% in the key demo. So you want to talk about disaster? These two organizations are it. And it's no wonder why, again, NBC is like, or Comcast specifically is like, we don't need these things anymore. They are an anchor on our earnings.
Unsustainable.
Yeah.
Unsustainable. And we have reached the point now where, despite the ideology of these companies, and they are absolutely ideologically captured, even in spite of that, what speaks to these executives more than anything else? Money. They love their yachts. They love them a lot. And they're going to lose their lot in life with DEI. It has gotten that bad. Now, I could go through, guys. We've seen the stats right now. The number of young people following the assassination of Charlie Kirk who are turning to faith, right?
Yeah.
Bible sales, church attendance. There is a massive push societally right now to go back to that which is traditionally sustained all of us for thousands of years. And I'm sorry, but this neo-Marxist, oh no, culture's impact, he's had an influence on me. This postmodern neo-Marxism is not something that's going to be there for people when everything else falls apart, because you can't put your hope, you can't put your faith in tribalism. That's what these corporations face. And it's not something you can play around with. They've tickled with it, but guess what? It's a tiger, and it's getting ready to bear its teeth down. What will be interesting, this is where we'll wrap it, guys. What's going to be the response? Is this going to be a weakened, whimpering exit for wokeism? Or do you think we're going to see a major backlash, or maybe some fighting from the left of the aisle?
You're always going to get some gnashing of teeth from the left, right? But I think it's going to be secluded, because it's just, I don't think the headlines surrounding this story are going to elicit the kind of reaction that you're going to see, like a bunch of people go, up in arms, this is crazy, this is nuts. I just don't think this is going to gain a lot of traction. Might with the media, and media has obviously a lot of influence. With the masses, I don't think so.
All right, folks, we'll keep an eye on it, but you don't have to keep an eye out on some of these positions that have gone away. The mainstream legacy corporations, the orthodoxy has had enough of woke. You know, it's always sad when one of these video ends, and yet it is the beginning of the wait for the next one to land 4 times a day right here on the Pro Channel. And by the way, there's plenty more on our partner channels, That Part Place, That Pod Place, That Game Place, and go check out the original music we have on stations like Vacation Radio. We'd love to have you, love to entertain you. At least we'll do a better job than some of the current entertainment companies. Folks, like, share, subscribe, and you know what? Drop a comment right on down below. Share this out anywhere you go on social media. And until the next time, we have the honor, the pleasure of getting to spend time with you when you choose to invite us into your day to add the value that we hope to bring your way. We ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah!
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio.
Arizona. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be up. 3 days of you and me.
What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.